This and that, we are back. The last time I was here, for those of you who watch all my videos, and by the way, if you do that, I appreciate it. Mwah. The last time I was here was to reveal to you my plan to open my business, which is an anime clothing brand. Yes, that. Which was the groundwork towards the bigger goal, which is to open an anime studio. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a series where all the videos will be focused exclusively on everything I do for the business, everything that's related to it. I'm going to focus that in this series, and these videos are mostly going to be about that. This is the second one. If you missed the first one, I'll link it right over here. Last video, I told you I had already the name of the company, I already had the business number, and I applied for the GST HST number. And the good news, people, is that I finally got it. After a month and 2 weeks or something. Super happy about that. But there's also a bad news with that. I'll let you know what it is in the second part of the video. I want to emphasize a few things. The main goal is to show you guys that the best thing you can do in your life is to align yourself with the plan that God has for you. In my case, the beginning of that plan was to document everything on YouTube, which is what I did, which is what this channel was created for. And the second thing, like I told you in the previous video, something that I did not expect at all was this business. I didn't expect to create merch or anything clothing related this early. I had ideas for it, but I wasn't expecting to do it this early. So he inspired me to do it, and that is the reason why I'm doing it. Now, throughout this series, you'll hear me talk about God, the Holy Spirit. Don't be surprised, because he is in the forefront of everything that I do. Or at least I hope so. You know, whether it is the design, whether it is where I get my suppliers, everything. I know that if I'm following what he tells me to do, I'm good. But if I try to do things on my own like I did in the past, and like you probably heard me talk about in the very first video that I uploaded. And by the way, if you're watching this video and you haven't watched the very first video that I uploaded on this channel, please go and do so. That explains a lot about my life, a lot about where I was and where I'm going. And yeah, you hear me talk about God, the Holy Spirit a lot, so don't be surprised. Now, let's get down to it. What did I do since I got my business number and everything? I'll explain that, but before we have to go back home. I chose to come back here because, you know, the weather is nice. It's cool. There's no one. Last time I came here, there were people playing all the way around, and it was a Monday, I think. Today is a Tuesday, so maybe the next time I'll also do that here. Who knows? Anyway, let's get back home. But before that, I need to show you something. So this is the entrance of this football field, or soccer field. Oh, I should say football field, yeah. And the entrance was like this. So when I came in, I'm looking all the way over there. I don't see anyone. And in my head, I'm like, this thing is closed. I need to find another filming location. But then I move over here, I see this thing. I'm like, man, I guess I'm gonna go back home, right? But all I had to do, which is what I did, was I did this. Yeah. And it was opened. What I'm basically trying to say is sometimes things seems to, you know, not be in your favor until you actually try it. And in this case, that seemed close, but it wasn't until I tried to open it. If I didn't try to open it, I wasn't going to make that portion of the video here. So take that as you will. And also something else is on this channel, I'm all about modifying my car, buying parts for it, and obviously for this business I need a lot of money, which means that this beautiful car will have to sit back a bit. I'm not going to completely stop modifying it. I still have a few things maintenance wise that I need to do to it, But because of winter and everything, installing stuff in winter is not ideal for me. Super cold and all that. So yeah, this will have to sit back just a tiny bit until I launch everything and I start getting some cash for it. So yeah, for those of you on the channel here for that, you know what to expect. Now let's get back home and let me show you exactly what I did with the business. Alright, so before I start, let me say that I am a complete beginner in this. This is the first company that I'm creating. I do not know everything. I'm learning as I go, so I might say things that are incorrect. If they are, please correct me in the comments. That would be very helpful as well. So the first thing that we need to know, or you guys need to know, is that I live in Canada, more specifically Montreal, Quebec. And the first thing that I needed to come up with, of course, was the name of the company. And that was not easy because, as you know, I needed a name that was not only for the clothing brand, but also was for the anime studio. So I needed to come up with something that would last, not something that would just stay for the clothing brand for now, and then when it comes time to create the anime studio, I would change. I needed a solid name that would stay. Of course, a name that would mean something for me, for my life, what I went through and where I'm going. And I was able to find one. I think that one is strong. And unfortunately for you guys, I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. You have to wait, but when the time comes, I'll let you know what it is. Next was the business number. To start a business, you need a business number. So that was pretty easy. I just googled how to get a business number in Canada, and I followed the steps. I got that pretty easily. And the nice part is that the website, which is the Canada website, it has everything in one place. So when you create an account there, you will have everything that you need, all the specific places to apply for all sorts of different stuff. Everything will be there. So that was pretty easy. I got that in like a day, but the process, you just need to make sure it's, you're taking time and you're doing everything, and everything will be fine. So that was the second step. The third step was to get a domain name, and I started with GoDaddy, but the Holy Spirit guided me to Squarespace. Now the funny part about Squarespace is that I already used it before. When I was doing game art and design, I had to create a website to showcase my portfolio and all that. I used Squarespace back then, so I already had an account. So all I had to do was log back in that same account, then create a new domain for this new website, which I did. It cost me $20 US dollars. I don't know how much it is in Canadian dollars, but not very expensive for 1 year. So I secured the domain. That was good. The next step was to get the GST HST, and that, people, I did not know it was going to take that long. Well, it took me about a month and maybe 2 weeks to get, but I was expecting to get it like in a few days, but it is what it is. I finally got it like at the beginning of last week, like I told you. So that's fine. Now, the bad news regarding that is I am using Alibaba. And let me actually backtrack. So when I was done with applying for the GST and HST, I needed to get the suppliers. Where do I get all these shirts made? Of course, when it comes to that, you have so many different options. You can go locally, you can go overseas, and I had heard about Alibaba from so many people, so I was like, you know what, I want to try these. And indeed, even there, they have a lot. You have so many choices, and the good thing about it is that it's pretty much one system. Everything is in one website. You don't have to go in different, like, it's very easy. So that's why I chose that. And plus also, when I was looking for the different items that I wanted to get from them. One specifically, the Holy Spirit guided me towards one, so yeah, I know that I'm at the right place for that. Of course, I could have used one locally, but I researched some places locally, and the unfortunate thing is that for what I specifically looked for, especially for the shirts, they don't have a lot of options for that here. And so yeah, I'm going with Alibaba. Now, going back to the GST and HST thing, the problem with Alibaba, let me show you. When you are on Alibaba, when you get to the tax informations, here you have the thing for the US, this is for Australia and Europe and whatever, and then here you have the Canada. When you get here, you only have two options, 1 and 2, and there's no way for me to enter my infos for Quebec, so this is very unfortunate. It's kind of useless at the moment. Later on, I definitely would have needed a HST number, so having that right now, I guess it's it's still good. But yeah, that's the unfortunate part about this with Alibaba, at least so far. If I'm missing something, please let me know in the comments, but I don't think I'll be able to use it for this case now. So far up to this point, in terms of how much I spent, it was only $20, $20 US for, what was it, the domain name. That was it. Now to get the website live, I will have to spend a lot more. I think it was like $350 to have it go live with everything, but that is way down the line when I had everything ready in terms of my supplies. I have all the photos and all that. It's not for now. It's all over there. But so far, only 20 bucks, which is nice. But I needed to find the suppliers, and I needed to get sampled, and that is where a lot of expenses comes in. The first one that I found, and like I said at the beginning, I am a complete noob at this. I do not know much, so I had to try here and there, make mistakes, learn from my mistakes, and move on to the next one, which is what you're going to see here. The first supplier that I went to, I sent them the design, I sent them a preview of exactly how I wanted the design to be printed on the shirt, and they said, okay, no problem, we are able to do that. Good. So I wait a bit, and about 2 weeks, no response. 2 weeks and 2 days, I get the pictures of everything printed on the shirt, and they did not print it the way I asked. So I have the front and back. Back is easy. Back they did print it, but the front they did not print it as I asked. And I looked at the zooming in on the pictures, the tissue doesn't seem to be the one that I'm looking for. So far I have to wait until I get the sample shipped here for me to see exactly how it is, but I can already tell you I'm not gonna continue with those. So that was the first one. That cost me 49.37 Canadian dollars. So that was not so bad for a first try. I guess 50 bucks in the trash, it happens. It's not too bad. The second one was a little bit better. Now that I've learned a few things about the materials, the fabrics, the type of printing that I wanted, because in between the first one and the second one I was like, okay, now I know kind of what I'm looking for. What are the different types of printing processes, printing techniques, and all that? So I did my research. I found a few things. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go this route. The second time, the second suppliers that I went to, this time I did a little bit different, because the delay between you sending the money, sending everything so that the shirt is made, and the time that you get it, it's probably like a month. And you do not want to waste like 2-3 months just to get samples. At least I didn't. So the second time I went for 3, what was it, 2 or 3? Yeah, the second one was 2. No, 3. So it was still shirts, but 3 different shirts, 3 different sizes, and I think, no, the material is the same. The fabric is the same, but 3 different sizes. And the reason why I did 3 different sizes was, one, to see how big they are, but also to see how it's printed, because they might print one set size, and the smaller one will be, the edges will be cut off, the middle one will be slightly bigger, and the biggest one will have all the design on it. So I wanted to see how they do that. So that's the second one. The second one, it cost me $123.36 Canadian dollars. So everything is included, like the price of the shirts and the shipping, all of that. The third one was the most expensive. This is for the hoodie. The hoodie, I chose 2 different ones. Well, two hoodies. The first one has a different fabric, and the second one has a different fabric as well. I'm not gonna go into details. Like I told you at the beginning, I'm not gonna go into details as to exactly what I asked them to do, but that's all you can. That's all I can say. 2 different ones, 2 different fabrics. Because of the fabric and the type of printing that I asked for, this one cost me in total $235.57 Canadian dollars. That was the most expensive one. I told you in my previous video, of what is the first video where I introduced all of this, I told you my plan was to launch in mid or the end of November. That is not going to happen because, again, of the delay between me ordering everything and receiving the samples. That is not going to happen. If I launch in November, first of all, I'm not going to have enough money to get everything that I need, and second of all, it's not going to come in time. It is not going to come in time. So I had to shift to a different launching window, which is going to be in winter next year. I don't know exactly when yet. All of that depends on when I get all the shipment, because when I get these samples, I will know exactly what I need to do, and then I will then do the big order and order everything all at once. Oh, also, I guess something I need to take into consideration is when I get all of that, I will need like a month between when I get everything and when I launch, because in between that month I'll have to do all the promo, so do all the pictures, the videos, pretty much 1 month of just promo before I launch. And that I'll get in detail as to my strategy when we get there, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking I'm going to do for that. But yeah, it is very exciting. It's a bit scary because, again, it's the first time I'm doing this, but the Lord is with me. The Holy Spirit guides me. Like, for most of this, it was only the Holy Spirit that guided me. I did some choices on my own, but most of it was guided by the Holy Spirit. And yeah, it is reassuring when you do that, when you have His approval. So yeah, that is what we have so far. And surprise, if you stayed all the way to the end of the video, I just received this. We got our first sample.